Hello, everyone. So I'm live streaming now. I'm trying something new. I went live a couple of times before this, but it didn't work because I actually want to have an overlay of an image right next here, right with the chord progression, and I found an app to do that. But then in that app, there was no way for me to give the stream a title and upload the thumbnail. So now I'm using the regular YouTube app, but now there's no way for me to overlay this image. So maybe somebody has a solution for this. If you have a solution for that, please let me know in the comments. And then next time I'll do that. So I'm live streaming now just because to try out this format and see if I can produce a good video just using my phone to stream. And yeah, if it works, I'll keep doing it. If it doesn't work, then this is a one-time experiment. And I'm doing this also because yesterday I did this interview with Danny Rabin. I'm not sure how I pronounce his last name, but he's from the band Marbin, and we had this live chat. But I was on a bad Wi-Fi connection, so it was very difficult to follow what I was saying. But I did mention something about Djangology, and I got some messages from people asking me to maybe make a video about that, explain it a little bit more clearly, or at least address what I was saying there maybe as a reply in the comments. But I'm deciding to make a video now about the stuff I was saying about Djangology. And I was explaining how you can simplify the changes of Djangology by not actually playing the real chords, but by thinking about different chords. So I wish there was an overlay here now with the chords, but I bet you all know the changes of Djangology. If not, I will show them now. So the changes of Djangology are C sharp half diminished for one bar, C minor 6, G with the B in the bass, B flat diminished, and then 2, 5, 1, right? So I recorded a quick backing track. So let me play a little bit of the theme so you know what the tune sounds like. So that's the tune, and this is the theme. Now, if I would be playing the normal changes of, let me see if I can see if there are comments. If there's anyway, that is the first time I'm doing it, so I really have no plan for it. See, now I'm trying to see my own live stream. I have no idea how to watch my own live stream. Maybe videos. Oh yeah, like this. Okay, let me see. Yeah, but I don't see any live. Okay, well, let me just continue. So if I would have to play these changes, so C sharp half diminished, C minor 6, G, B flat diminished, that's not a problem. I could do that, and that would sound something. I will give a demonstration. And it would sound something like this, right? So for C sharp half diminished, I'd be thinking something like E minor 6 or E minor. Right? And for C minor 6, I would be thinking C minor. And then for G, well, G of course, then for the diminished chord, I would think a G, B flat diminished arpeggio. And then some kind of 2-5-1 lick. So that would sound like this. something like that, and that of course sounds fine. But if I would do that every course, it would become a little bit boring because I would be playing the diminished arpeggio all the time, and I'd rather play something else on the diminished chord, because the way I look at diminished chords is that it is actually not a real chord, in the sense that I never think about a diminished chord when I'm improvising. Instead, I see diminished as a color on a dominant chord. And diminished is kind of special because one diminished chord can um, outline 4 different dominant chords, right? So in this song, for instance, when we have B flat diminished, that is a sound that you can play over F sharp 7, over A7, over C7, and over E flat 7. Right? That same diminished chord fits over all those chords. So instead of playing the diminished chord, I could think any of these 4 chords. And the way I do it is, in this case, for example, I would be thinking maybe F sharp 7, or I would be thinking A7 altered, or I'd be thinking C7 or E flat 7 not altered. Right? There's no, maybe I can explain it, but the rule for me is, if there's a diminished chord in the song which has the root of the main key in the chord, so in this case it's B flat diminished, so there's a G in it and the song is in G, then I think a half step down from the main key, so the main key is G, so it's F sharp 7, and then I alter that chord, so F sharp 7 altered. Then I can go a third up, so to A7 altered, and then I can go a third up again, C7, and I won't alter the chord, and I can go a third up again, E flat 7, and I won't alter that chord. So to give another example, let's say we're in the key of C, and there is a C diminished or E flat diminished chord in that song, right? So the root of the main key is in the song. Then I can go a half step down, so B7 altered. I can go a third up, so D7 altered. I can go a third up, F7 not altered, and I can go a third up again, or minor third, A flat not altered. So let's go back to Djangology. Let me just play that. So I'm gonna play C sharp half diminished something, then C minor 6 something, G, and then on the B flat diminished, I'm just gonna play F7 altered. So something like, let's see how that sounds. That sounds great. So let me try it now. I go a third up, minor third, and we have A7. And I'll play an altered sound on that. So I'll play something like, or some kind of A7 altered sound. That works. Now let's go a third up, and we have C7, and I'll play a C7 not altered sound. So maybe, or something like that. That sounds really cool. Okay, let's go a third up. We go to E flat 7 not altered. So something like, or let's play that. That's a really sweet sound too. Now, if you know your theory, then you know that if I'm playing F sharp 7 altered, that is basically the same as playing C7 not altered, or A7 altered is the same as playing E flat 7 not altered, right? So that's why it works like that. So the rule is, again, if you have a diminished chord in a key, if you have diminished chord and there's a note in it that is the main key. So let's say we're in G, or no, let's take a look. We're in F, and you find an A flat diminished chord in the song, which happens, for example, in Embraceable You, right? F. The second chord, it's A flat diminished, and there's an F in it. So then I'm going a half step down from the main key, which would be E, and then I can play E7 altered. I can go minor third up, G7 altered. I can go minor third up, which is B flat, not altered, and I can go a minor third up, D, not altered. And then you know that D7, not altered, is basically the same as playing A flat altered. Did I say it correctly? Let me see. I was saying incorrectly. E altered, G altered, B flat, not altered, and then D flat, not altered. So, and D flat, not altered is the same as G altered, and E altered is the same as B flat, not altered. It sounds kind of confusing, but you could watch the video back, and then it's not that easy, not that difficult. And you don't have to play all 4 possibilities in the same song. You could just pick one. And the one that I pick the most is just go a half step down from the main key and play that altered. So again, we're in G, and it's B flat diminished. So what I'm going to play, F sharp 7 altered. And then another one I really like is to play E flat 7 not altered. Okay, now we discussed this diminished chord, right? Of course, you can play diminished arpeggio, you can play a half diminished scale, half whole step, half step diminished scale, but those kind of choices are not really harmonic in the sense that they don't express something in the key that we're in. They just express the chord at that moment, which is nice, but it's not really functional playing. If you want to play functional, I would choose any of those dominant chords. Okay, now let's talk about the first 2 chords, like C sharp half diminished and C minor 6. Now for me, C sharp half diminished is also not a sound I would ever think about when I improvise, because I only think about a major, minor, and dominant. So again, C sharp half diminished is just for me a way to express a certain color of a dominant chord. In this case, it's just E7, E7 9, because the C sharp half diminished is just A7 9 without the roots. So what I'm going to play on that is A7 not altered. Or I could even play just C sharp diminished, even though there's a B flat in it, and in C sharp half diminished there's no B flat. But if I think A7 in Gypsy Jazz, you can play a diminished chord on every dominant. That just works. Even though it's a flat 9, doesn't matter. So I'm just gonna play A7 on the C sharp half diminished, maybe C sharp diminished, but I could just play with a major 9 and play maybe the bebop scale, or some like this 3-2-1 pedals. That's a video for me. You know, it's like you can play 3-2-1. So I'm talking about my fingers. You can repeat it endlessly in the random patterns. That fits great over A7, and that fits great over C sharp half diminished. Okay, now the second chord, C minor 6, that for me is just a substitution for D7 altered. Why? Because another thing I tend to do is I try to convert everything to a 2-5-1. Now, if you have a 2-5-1 in G, which would be A minor 7, D7 G, and you want to play D7 altered, you can play C minor 6, right? You could, let's say the chords are. So on A minor 7, maybe I'll play something like. And now I want to play D7 altered. I could go to C minor 6 arpeggio. That's what Django would do. So you can already tell from that D7 altered and C minor 6 are very similar. Now what is happening in Djangology is that instead of writing D7 altered, Django wrote or thought to use the substitution itself, C minor 6. So of course, if you play rhythm guitar, you have to play that C minor 6 because it's part of the song. But if you improvise, you could think either of them, C minor 6 or D7 altered, or any other sound that would express D7 altered, like E flat minor or A flat 7, or E flat minus 7. There's lots of possibilities as long as you continue the line and play something that would go from D7 altered to G, you're fine. So what do I get now? I get A7 to D7 altered to G. And it's just basically a 2-5-1 in G, with the 2 being a dominant chord. So let's do that, right? So I'm going to play a solo, and on the C sharp half diminished, I'm just playing some A7 things. I'll play exactly that. And then on the C minor 6, I'll play D7 altered, and I'm just going to play. So I'll play a diminished arpeggio on the F sharp, and then G, right? Then we get the B flat diminished. I'll play F sharp 7 altered, and then again it's 2-5-1 in G, right? So A7 to D7 to G, F sharp 7, and then 2-5-1 in G. Let's see how it sounds. I'll play a whole chorus, so there's also a bridge. Time. So what was it doing at the end there? For instance, I was playing, what was I playing? I think I was playing that on A7, so that's just C sharp diminished, or on C sharp half diminished, I was thinking A7, I was playing C sharp diminished, going to D altered. I don't think I was playing this, but I could have played it. But then I played on the B flat diminished, and this is just F sharp 7 altered for me. And I played, what is that? It's E flat minor. And E flat minor for me is a sound to express D7 altered. So I could be playing that this lick on the second chord too. And then you say, well, that's really weird because the chord is C minor 6, but you're playing E flat minor. That is completely different. Yes, it is. But I'm not thinking about outlining that specific chord, C minor 6. I'm thinking about playing a tension sound that resolves to G, because C minor 6 is also a sound that resolves to G. And because that is a sound I can play over D7, I can play any other sound that goes over D7. I know this is kind of hard to grasp, but just think about D7, not about C minor 6. And if you think about D7 altered, what are the sounds that you could play? Well, you could play C minor, you could play E flat minor, you could play A flat 7, you could be playing F sharp diminished, you could be playing C minor 7. So let's try that. I'll play the first 4 bars, and I'll first play E flat minor on the C minor 6. Right? It's a weird sound when I do it, but it resolves nicely. Okay, now let's do A flat 7 on that. So I'm gonna play something like. So again, there's a lot of tension when I play that A flat, but then it resolves nicely to the G. Now let's do F sharp diminished. Sounds fine. Okay, let's do C minor 7 or E flat major 7. C minor 7, which for me would be E flat major 7. Also resolves nicely to G. you see what I can get away with. I can play all those sounds over that C minor 6 chord, and it works because these are just sounds that resolve to G, just like C minor 6, which is just a sound that resolves to G because it is a substitution for D7. And when I see a substitution written down, I know that I could play any other of the other substitutions for D7 right on top of it, especially when my line is continuing like that. So, by the way, I don't know if you ever noticed, but these chords of Djangology are the same chords that are in Night and Day, and I bet that Django maybe got it from there, right? If I would be playing minor Night and Day in G, so then I would get right. So that is the same thing, right? There in the Night and Day, you could play the exact same things, but of course then we're in D or in C. So let's say we're in D. So we get G sharp half diminished, that's just E7, right? We get G minor, so again that's A7 altered. We get F sharp minor 7 or D with F sharp and bass. That's basically all D because the third degree in a key is also a substitute for 1. So if we're in the key of D and it says F sharp minor 7, it's just D. And then we get the D diminished or F diminished. Again, that's just a diminished chord with the root of the key in the chord. We're in D. So what I'm going to play, C sharp 7 altered, or I like to play G7 not altered. And then it's a 2-5 in D. So E7, A7 altered, D, C sharp 7 altered, and 2-5. So let me play that in a tempo. Night and Day. So even though there's no chords and I'm playing what seems weird stuff, you can still hear the song. And that is because I'm playing the same functions. And that is my point, right? The point is that don't think too much about the chords, but think about the functions. Okay, so let me see about the comments, see what people are asking. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to answer some questions. Flat 3 diminished is very common, right? It's the same as one. Yes, of course. Flat 3 diminished is the same as 1 diminished and sharp 4 diminished. But I never think about diminished. If I think about diminished, I'll be playing a diminished arpeggio or a diminished scale, but I prefer to think about a dominant chord. And it's the same principle, right? It doesn't matter if it's flat 3, 1 raised 4, or there's of course one more. I think about the main key, go a half step down and play that chord altered as my first option, or I play the tritone of that chord not altered. So again, we're in C, and I see a C diminished chord. Let me see, is there a song like that? Well, for instance, there are songs like that. Let's see, let's say, do you know this tune called I don't know, there's this song, I forgot the title now, but it's C, B7, right, B7. So that is the same as playing C sharp, C diminished. So the funny thing is there they actually didn't write the diminished chord. They wrote the B7 altered, the B7, which I would be thinking. So let's say the chord was C diminished. I'd be thinking B7 altered or F7 not altered, or as a second option, D7 altered or A flat 7 not altered. That all fits over that B7 chord or C diminished chord. Okay. The weird thing is when I say all these names, it sounds very complicated, but it really isn't. The main thing to remember is you see a diminished chord and there's a note in it of the main key. Just go a half step down and play that chord altered. So we're in the key of E flat. There's a G flat diminished chord. There's an E flat in it. So you play D7 altered. Okay. I'm a genius. Well, no, this is actually not that, it's basic classical harmony. I think it kind of got lost in the mix when people started worrying a lot about specific chords, right? Then they lost sight on the fact that the diminished chord is just an expression of a dominant chord. It's not a chord. It is a chord, of course, but it's just the upper structure of a dominant chord, because there's only three chords. There's only a major chord, a minor chord, and a dominant chord, because those are the only three real functions, right? Tonic, dominant, and subdominant. 1, 4, and 5. All other chords are substitutions for one of those. Now, diminished chord is a substitution for a 5 chord. Okay. Would you say that the similar approach to patterns could be used? Of course, could be used, but on violin, I think more about the actual notes, because on violin, I think about note names, and on guitar, I think more about shapes. But the principle is the same, of course. If I would be playing on a diminished chord on violin, I do the same thing. I always thought it was C dim. Yes, the melody is actually C diminished, but everybody plays C minor 6. But if the chord would be C diminished, let me see. Well, okay, if the chord is C diminished, now the main there's no G in it, but now there's an F sharp in it. So that means this is just a substitute for D7, which is the same I was already talking about. That chord in that spot, it's just a 2-5 to G, right? So the first chord, C sharp half diminished, it's just A7. So the 2 is a 7 chord. Then it's D7. What can be substituted for D7? Many things. One of the things I said is F sharp diminished, which is the same as C diminished, right? So it's just D7, whatever you play. You want to play C diminished, it's fine. You want to play C minor 6, you want to play E flat minor, you want to play A flat 7. It's all expressing D7 altered in one way or another. The one thing I wouldn't be playing is D7 not altered, because if I would be doing that, then I'm disregarding the substitution of the song itself, which is C minor 6, which is a altered substitution for D7. C minor 6 is D7 sus 4. Yes, that's correct. I would just say D7 altered. Diff bowing picking. No, there's no bowing picking is completely different. There's no correlation there at all. It talks about George Whisper approaches. Yeah, right. I'm certainly not the first one to do it. Some people have pointed me to a video of Joe Pass where he's also talking about not thinking about every chord. It's basically all the same, but I think the most important thing, because there's many ways you can explain it, but the most important thing to remember is that there's only 3 chords: minor, major, and dominant, right? And the difference between minor 6 and minor 7 and minor major 7, that's all not important. Those are all different expressions of a minor chord. So yeah, it's just a minor chord. If it's a real minor chord, right? In this case, the C minor 6 is not a real minor chord. It's a substitution for D7. So you have to identify the real minor chords. What are the real minor chords? The real minor chords are either the tonic of a song, or it is maybe the 2 and the 2-5-1. That's the real minor chord. So if you play A minor 7, D7, G, 2-5-1, and G, that's A minor 7. You could be playing A minor major 7 or A minor 6. It doesn't really matter. How do you see the half diminished chord? Like just as a expression of a dominant chord, as of a non-altered dominant chord. So C sharp half diminished is just A7. And I'm not. I recently heard that Barry Harris does the same thing, right? If he has a 2-5-1 in, let's say we're playing, what is the thing called Love? So we have a 2-5-1 to F, G half diminished. He would be thinking E flat 7, which is the same thing I was just doing. So he would be thinking E flat 7 to C7, C7 altered, to F minor. Another thing you could do, if it's a real 2-5-1 in minor, I like to think D flat major 7 over both these chords. So G half diminished C7. I'd be thinking D flat major 7 to F minor. If you want to know more about that, I made this video called Woody and You, how to play over Woody and You, and I explained that principle. Okay, what else? Is that Andrea? Yeah, I think that there's indeed that's diminished chord I was looking for. Are there any books? I'm not sure. It's just basic classical harmony. I come from classical, right? I don't know how it's probably from analyzing classical music. The diminished chord is often used as a easy way to modulate, right? Because let's say we're in G, right? So G, right? And if I would be playing this diminished chord, because it expresses 4 different dominant chords, it's very easy to modulate to, let's say, B major, or to G, or to any of the other keys that fit with the 4 dominant chords. So if you realize that you can use a diminished chord like that, then you also realize that the diminished chord is just a way to express dominant chords. But the nice thing about diminished is one diminished chord expresses 4 different dominant chords. But you could be playing all of them in your improvisations on top of the diminished chord. It would all work. Now you could take it one step further, because now let's say we have a 2-5-1 in G, right? So in D7, the diminished chord that would express D7 would be F sharp diminished. Now there are 3 other dominant chords that are expressed by F sharp diminished. You could be playing it on top of D7 even. So F sharp diminished would also express, for example, B7, right? B7 altered. So if you have a 2-5-1 in G, right, instead of playing D7 altered, so let's say I play D7 altered, I could be playing B7 altered. You hear that sound? It's nice, right? It's playing B7 altered, resolving to back to G. That really works. I often do that, and you could be thinking any of the other dominant chords. Now it's just a matter of realizing that, right? So I could be playing B7 altered. I could be playing A flat 7. I could be playing F7. I could be playing D7. Well, D7 is the normal. So F7, of course, works great too. And so I would not alter that. So let's say, so on D7, I'm gonna play F7. So A minor. And what is that? F7. It's also C minor 6. So you see, it's all related. C minor 6 on D7 is quite normal, but F7 is possible. So in jazz, people started calling that the backdoor dominant, which is kind of a weird term. It's just a dominant that fits the diminished chord that also fits over the normal 5, right? So backdoor dominant makes it sound like something special. It really isn't. It's the same chord as D7. It's the same chord. Okay. There are only 3. Yeah, there's only 3 diminished chords. Omit C. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Is there any other difficult progression that I could, where you could see this principle? Yeah, for instance, the I was talking about it in the video. Like if they have the last 8 bars of All of Me, right? So you have F, F minor, da da D, da 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 D da, C, da. So that F, you could be playing F. Now F of course is the same as D minor 7, right? And then F minor is the same as G7 altered. So it's basically a 2-5-1 in C. 2, 5 altered, 1. So it's not difficult. You could just play any of your 2-5-1 licks. So at the end of All of Me is just 2, 5, 1. That is just a dominant chord that leads back to the 2. Let's say I omit it. You can omit it. 2, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1. It's just basically 2 2-5-1s. Those Christoph changes are just 2 2-5-1s, but the first 2-5-1 has an altered 5. And the second 2-5-1, you can choose what you want to do with that 5. You can alter it or not alter it. Now, so, but what if that is a diminished chord? And let's not say it's not F minor, but it's F sharp diminished. Well, that's the same thing I was just asked in Djangology. Why is it not C diminished instead of C minor 6? If it would be diminished, no, it's not the same. But if it's diminished, I have a diminished chord with the root of the main key in it. So it's C. There's a C in this diminished chord. So I could be playing B7 altered. Let's play a little bit before so you can hear it. It's beautiful. B7 altered. Again, B7 altered. And now here's another nice thing. When you have the 1 chords, because all these sounds, they resolve to 1, right? The diminished chord and the altered, you could be playing that right on top of the 1 chord as a retardation. So now you get very, very interesting sounds. Let's say we have a 2-5-1 to C, a real 2-5-1. So I'm playing this standard Gypsy Jazz 2-5-1 lick, 3, 4. Right? Now instead of resolving to C, right, I'm not gonna resolve, I'm gonna play C diminished. Right on top of that 1. So you get this 1, 2, 3, 4. So what am I doing? I'm just delaying the resolution. But if you realize this, you could, any 2-5-1, you could first be playing a altered dominant chord, and then you could be playing that 1 diminished chord as an extra retardation for the 1 chord. It sounds great, and it's completely acceptable, right? Yeah, you're creating some tension, but it's beautiful because now you're not resolving at the same time as the rhythm section. You're creating your own resolution a little bit later. It's a great effect. Yeah, so the endings of Django's Tiger and I Can Give You Anything But Love is the same as All of Me. It's just 2 2-5-1s with the first 2-5-1 with an altered 5. So, for instance, Django's Tiger, right, goes to D, D, so that it's a D major, but you could also be thinking B minor 7, which is the 2 in A. Then it's this chord, right? So it's basically A diminished. So you could be thinking A flat 7 altered, or you could just be thinking E7 altered. Because we just established that A7 altered, A flat 7 altered and E7 altered are both sounds that resolve back to the 1. So they're both substitutions for a 5 chord. Yeah. So that is it for this video. And I was trying to keep it simple, but it's very, when I start saying all these chord names, it sounds very complicated, but it really isn't. Just remember that basically when you see that diminished chord, it's a substitute for a altered 5 chord. And on top of the altered 5 chord, there are 3 other dominant chords you can play. And yeah. So now you can realize that every song is very similar because there's all 2-5-1s. So how do you distinguish between playing different progressions? By making different choices. So for instance, when it's a diminished chord, I like to play the altered chord half step down, right? But if it's a real 5 chord, I like to play the altered chord itself, or I like to play the dominant chord from the minor third, right? So to summarize, if we're in the key of G and there is this B flat diminished, I like to play F sharp 7 altered. Now when we're in the key of G and there's a D7, I like either to play D7 altered, or I like to play F7 not altered, which is the same as C minor 6. Yeah, I can write a book about it, but it's basically very simple, right? I mean, that is one page. The thing you got to search for are lines, and that's more better expressed in a video. So my videos are all about lines, but now when you see the lines, you can realize that you can use them in many different places. So I think this is it. I'll make one final round with the questions. Do you see? Let me see. Are there only 3 different? Yeah. Do you see 4 minor and sharp 4 diminished 7 as the same? I see them both as substitutions for a 5 chords, for an altered 5 chords. And so you could be playing exact same lines over them, but if I want to make a real difference, then over the raised 4 diminished 7, I'd be playing the altered dominant half step down from the main key, and over the minus 4 minor, I'd be playing the real altered sound. Yeah, I'm repeating myself. Yeah, okay. I hope this video is a success. It's a little more difficult to get my thoughts straight because it's live. But if people like it, I'll make more of these live videos because it's very easy to do. Now tomorrow, I'm working with Dennis Chang, but Wednesday we're free, so maybe I could do a live stream together with Dennis and talk about some stuff. I hope I see you then. Bye.